What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Final Fantasy Entertainment and Podcast Network Final Fan TV, and I am the warrior of hype. And joined with me is the Mako Man, Reed. What's up, Reed?
What up, big boy?
Hey, man. You know, this is kind of cool. You know, it's me and you. First time I think we've ever done like a podcast, just me and you, Reed. So that's interesting. So thank you so much for being here, man. We're going to be talking about Kingdom Hearts 4 and worlds we want to see in Kingdom Hearts 4. And we have prepared our own separate lists and what we're going to do. As you can see on the left-hand side of the screen here, we're going to have worlds. We're going to fill them in. Typically in Kingdom Hearts games, I suppose the standard's about 12. Kingdom Hearts worlds, you know, we'll see. It's borderline between those two, and then plus you get your Hollow Bastion and the original worlds for Kingdom Hearts. But we're going to be talking about what Kingdom Hearts 4 could offer, and we think the possibilities have expanded pretty greatly. So let's dive right in. I can start, or you want to start, Reed? Who wants to start? We're good to go.
Either or, I guess.
Go ahead, Reed. I'll be a gentleman. I will let you start.
Hey, man, I dig it. So yeah. I guess we'll preface this, and this is something that we've been talking about before going live and everything. Was obviously we've seen the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer, and we see the extreme kind of shift in art direction and everything like that, and how we've been discussing how that like opens up a whole new like realm of possibilities for where they could take the game and worlds that we could, you know, go to. And the way I think it opens the world up to more Square than Disney now, as opposed to integrating Square properties into like the Disney style, like the original Kingdom Hearts. It's opening up the door to bring Disney into the Square style. And the analogy I was using with Danny here was when I watch the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer now, and there's like the Heartless in the city, I can't. Every time I see that now, I only think of the Bahamut scene from Final Fantasy Advent Children. It just that just rings very, very true to me. So. Yeah. So I wanted to try to get a little wild with it and see how see where the rabbit hole goes, so to say.
Okay.
So
okay, that is interesting. To like if like you're saying, you like kind of flip it on its head, where Final Fantasy is now being almost invaded or whatever by Disney. Like we see in the trailer a little shot of an ATST. Like I mean, it looks like one. It looks like the foot of an ATST. From Star Wars, but it doesn't quite give me Endor vibes. I don't know. It is definitely a jungle. It's definitely, you know, got the woodsy features to what of Endor could be like. But if it is kind of what you're saying, if like Star Wars has just found its way into a freaking Final Fantasy VIII world or something, that would be interesting for sure. So now you'll find like Disney characters within like the world of like Midgar or something, you know.
I mean, the best part of it is just it's not even so much how the game can go now, because obviously we're all gonna just jump as far to every side of the spectrum as we can with possibilities. But like that is the most fun of it. Is it's not even where the game's going; it's theory crafting.
Yeah, at this point,
and that's the best part of it.
Now, I definitely have a more traditional list. Like my worlds that I've come up with are more traditional. Like here's Disney-owned properties that are going to be the worlds for this, and the world that we see in the trailer is just basically the hub world. You know. Where Sora's going to start out, and then we're going to go back into our traditional like visit Disney World, solve Disney problems while the story continues, blah blah blah. So that's my list, and I'm very curious of what you came up with, Reed. So go ahead and give me your first world.
All right, so again, like Danny just said, he's going to be more realistic, whereas it's most likely to go. I'm going to do a little wish fulfillment.
Okay.
Danny's going to critique mine. I'm going to critique Danny's, and then we're going to merge them into our mutual dream list here.
Yeah.
Also, as you mentioned, it's just the two of us, so I was kind of hoping that we could have like a lo-fi version of Will Smith's just the two of us playing in the background throughout this whole episode. But we can't all get what we want. So, all right. So, I'm going to start crazy. I told you a few minutes ago when we were about to start, I had a great idea. Okay. So I was trying to think of a hub world, right? So here's the thing. You're in the city right there, right? From the trailer. Okay. The headquarters, Kingdom Hearts 4, Stark Tower.
Stark Tower. That's pretty cool. I love that you're putting in Avengers, Marvel, Disney-owned property has not been in Kingdom Hearts yet. That's awesome. I love it. Also,
I mean, all the technology. Tony Stark Avengers have done all the space exploration. Gummy ships, Stark ships. I mean, one could lead to the other.
So I have a counter to that, but I know we were doing your list and my list, but can I just
strike while the iron's hot? Yeah, strike while the iron's hot.
All right, strike while the iron's hot here. I thought about this pretty extensively to whereas I was like, okay, Marvel is gotta be in this. It's finally time. Disney owns it. It's it should be in Kingdom Hearts 4. I was like, but where? So I got to thinking, you can't see Spider-Man. Unless if Kingdom Hearts 4 turns out to be a PlayStation exclusive, which if that's the case, then yes. So I think Spider-Man is probably top of the list. Like put Spider-Man as the main Marvel world that you're going to visit.
I just worry with that because of Sony. That's why spoiler, my list doesn't have Spider-Man because I wanted to leave out any properties that could.
It would have to be permission with Sony. Like they would have to get permission and all this other. So that's why I was like, I'm going to leave out Spider-Man due to that exclusivity, especially if they want to bring Kingdom Hearts to like other platforms. They would have a lot of problems later on, or if they're trying to launch on Xbox and other places. But I don't see Spider-Man being there, so I said exclude Spider-Man, which excludes one of my picks. I was going to say on Titan versus Thanos would be like an incredible level. And I was like, but Spider-Man is there. Also, Star-Lord would be there, and Square's already kind of done Guardians of the Galaxy. So you're kind of like, okay, well, there's already a Guardians game by Square. You don't want to bring Star-Lord in, or maybe you do and have the same actor. Interesting, I don't know. But still, don't think those.
I mean, you can also, you can exclude. I mean, it is fantasy, so it's like, if you have Stark Tower, you don't necessarily have to have all of the Avengers. You can pick and choose. I mean, for example, like Traverse Town. I mean, you have Leon, you have Yuffie, and you have 101 Dalmatians. Like that's it's all over the place kind of thing. But that actually, now that I mentioned that is kind of part of why I picked Stark Tower and a big part of my end game. Play on words. Was that those people from Kingdom Hearts might still be in the fold here, but Marvel, because of the Stark Tower technology, everything like that, would be a way to integrate a whole bunch of different worlds. Because I mean, what hasn't Marvel done? Disney's explored a bunch of sci-fi elements as well. So I was just like, what would be like the best, like just jump in? You can have Iron Man.
What a fun way to jump into.
And you can have certain other, but also, I mean, it's a big industrial city, Stark Tower, big industrial tower right in the middle of a big city. I mean, so that was my thoughts on that. But yeah, we'll move on and we'll come back to this on your grading. Scale.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, so the first world, Midgar.
Okay. Think we're jumping into a Final Fantasy world here. So Final Fantasy 7 Midgar.
I think a good way to do it would just be to rip the Band-Aid off, like right away. Say, hey, we're bringing in Marvel. We're bringing in more Square. I mean, Cloud's been in it. Sephiroth has been in it, but now
let's go to their worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
We know their worlds are out there. Like, Squall's
and
referenced it, and all this other stuff. So like, their worlds are out there.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I don't want to go super hyper physics here, but like technically it's like another dimension, so it's like the way you see things would change. So it's not that it's like a different cloud or anything. It's just that you're kind of crossing into another dimension, and like the way you see things changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like going from like a 2D world to a 3D world. It's like, oh, hey, I didn't know you had
Yeah,
you know,
and it would be a completely different. It would be like a completely separate canon. Like it wouldn't be related to like you'd go over there and you'd probably like, interfere with certain. It's just like they do with Disney worlds, Disney stories. You go in there, you kind of interfere with the overall plot, but you're not really. It's not really canon to what's So if you go to Midgar or if you go to whatever Final Fantasy VII world, you're seeing Cloud. Maybe they even keep Cloud with the bandaged up Buster Sword.
I like the idea, and I like the idea of mentioning.
It's all different.
I mean, yeah, he's like I think I know you, from like the Coliseum.
God, that would be interesting, man. That would be cool.
But he looks different. You look different, and it's trying to.
And you got Donald and Goofy with you going to freaking Midgar. Like what? The juxtaposition of this is just mind blowing. I love it.
I know, like that'd be
the contrast. Yeah.
I mean, but also Cloud's always pretty renowned for memory loss and stuff. So it'd be kind of cool him trying to piece together how he knows Sora and stuff like that. Yeah. Meanwhile, you have Sephiroth and as far as what works with the Heartless, I mean Sephiroth, Geostigma, all these kind of. I mean, the Heartless is kind of like an infection. It is. It's like an infection of like the insides, which is also going to come back on this list.
Okay.
Yeah. So Midgar's is number one. I don't know if it'd necessarily be the first world to go to, but it's number one that I'd want to see.
Okay.
So all right. So number two, we're gonna hop back to Disney.
Okay.
We're going Metroville with The Incredibles.
That's on my list. That's on my list. Yeah, like I think it's because it's kind of like Kingdom Hearts 3 had Big Hero 6, and I feel like they probably had a lot of internal debate. This is just my mind thinking. I don't know if there's any truth to it or whatever, but I feel like there was probably some internal debate with like we have Incredibles, we have Big Hero 6. You can't put both of them in because they kind of feel similar, especially when you're thinking of like gameplay. And I'm like, Incredibles. Why do you think Incredibles?
Well, I mean, a few things. A, because The Incredibles is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, especially the first one. Come on. But like, I really like the idea. So I tried to dance around like different motifs from Kingdom Hearts and like all of these worlds, and like one of them is playable characters, like special teammates. What do you call them? Like Tarzan and Kingdom Hearts 1,
guest
like
characters?
guest characters. Yeah, there we go. But I thought it'd be really cool if you could alternate between all four of the Incredibles, because and it could be story based, like if something happens one, so then you get like Elastigirl, you get Mr. Incredible, and all that. So you can like it just is a variety of people you can use, and also you can build people in different ways, build Sora and everything in different ways in Kingdom Hearts. So it's like if you want to build everyone a certain way and you want someone tankier, you could pick Mr. Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Incredible, or anything like that. So it's like it's just a lot of variety there, and also
not to mention Incredibles 2 is Pixar's highest grossing film. It's just like it's their highest grossing film, most popular. It kind of feels like it belongs there. Yeah,
and like if I can just get like one line, like it'd be amazing if you could just be like flying or something by like a city, or like or like waiting outside a building form, and you just hear Frozone inside say, "Where is my super suit?" Like that's all I want. That is all I want. Like you can just roll credits right there. You can roll credits right there. What if like the whole point is like you put the key in the keyhole in that world, and it just like unlocks the chest holding his super suit. That's his super and like he finally gets it. Like
Frozo's super suit, like you open a chest or something. Frozo's super suit.
that'd be amazing. But
Where is my super suit?
I mean,
I love that movie, man.
There's a big variety of heroes, big variety of villains.
Okay.
I mean, you could really mingle there, and also, just like the popularity of the property and everything like that.
See, here's where I was kind of like when it came to Incredibles. You went with the city, right? Like you went with that was going to be the area.
Metroville, yep.
Metroville, and I'm just like, I like the idea. It makes a whole lot of sense, like for Incredibles. But then I'm like, man, just now you've mentioned 3 cities, and it's just like I don't know. At some point they're gonna be like, well, we need to like, you need to throw a hook in the aesthetics. And I was like,
oh
well,
yeah,
the Incredibles could go to that jungle area at the end of Incredibles. They could do it there. They could take it, but Metroville just feels like Incredibles, like that's where it belongs.
Yeah, and there's also always the option that you could go elsewhere from there, but that's just like their base where they live.
They could choose like the Northern Crater for final. You know, Midgar would be the most iconic, but they could go other places.
Yeah, I mean,
if they want to switch up the statics, yeah.
Northern Crater would be great. Also, another thing, especially with Final Fantasy VII Midgar or whatever. I mean, a Genova Kingdom Hearts boss fight.
Oh man, yeah.
And imagine a Disney-fied version of the Genova boss theme.
Amazing. I hope they do bring back more Final Fantasy elements in Kingdom Hearts 4, because Kingdom Hearts 3 was lacking. I think Remind did bring them back. I thought about that after our show last week. Remind does bring back some Final Fantasy characters, so hopefully that was them saying, hey, we hear you, you want Final Fantasy back in Kingdom Hearts, and what you're saying just sounds so exciting.
Yeah.
What's your next pick, Reed?
All right, so like you said, I did start off with the cities. So I was thinking of other properties that kind of, this is a Square one, going back to Square, that have kind of gotten the same treatment as what Kingdom Hearts is getting, where it's going from that, like, you know, PS1 or PS2 graphics to, you know, like the full Monty, like the real nice, what's the glow up, if you will. And also I was thinking like Agrabah, how it's like a you know, you go there and it's like a dungeon, you're dungeon diving, you know. So I went with, and I don't have a name for the world because I don't know what it would be called, but I want a Tomb Raider world. Like
a Tomb Raider-esque world?
Yeah.
Oh, Tomb Raider, yeah, I guess Square Enix does that. That's a Square Enix property. Oh my god. You're branching out, man. That's crazy. Like, because now you're going almost the side, like like a Super Smash Bros. Not collab thing, because it's all staying under the umbrella of Square. But yeah.
But it could also be like Lara Croft in like a Disney-esque dungeon, where like a Disney villain could be, you know, at the base of the dungeon or behind what's happening. But I wanted like a dungeon dive with Square, like an Aladdin level, but with a Square character.
Yeah.
A Square-actor, if you will.
A Square-actor.
Quotes of the cast. Yeah.
Square-actor. Okay. I was gonna fill in, but I think I forgot we were waiting until the end to like come up with a finalized list. Okay, so you want like some kind of like, oh, that would be cool, man. Especially if they're going with under the Square Enix umbrella. All right, I like what you're thinking. What's your next one, Reed?
All right. Let's see. Next one went back to Disney properties, but with Marvel.
Okay.
We're doing Asgard.
Oh yeah. All right, that's good because it ties in with like Thor: Love and Thunder coming out. They might come out.
And the Bifrost. I mean, about travel between galaxies, you know, all that kind of stuff like that. So it kind of fits into those themes. And also, I mean, Thor as a playable character would be, I mean,
amazing. All right, so I was a little. I gotta correct myself. I was a little short-sighted there. Love and Thunder would be coming out this year, so obviously it wouldn't be tying in well because Kingdom Hearts 4 is probably way off. But yeah, I get what I like where you're going. So you're going Asgard, which would just be aesthetically just crazy, awesome, like completely different than any city. This is But
I mean, the idea wouldn't be to, well. So I was kind of torn between the actual story there being in Asgard with like, because I mean, there's this big internal battle with Loki that happens very famously in Marvel and the comics and obviously the movies. But it would be really fun to explore how if the Heartless were a part of his like internal struggle between good and evil. Like what if the Heartless is what's pulling him towards evil in like the first Avengers movie, and you know, so you'd use Thor to essentially save Loki. But what would also be really cool about it was if Loki at this point is like kind of bad or whatever, you can go to Niflheim. You know, where the ice giants are. Go to the ice giant, like where they are, and the whole level could be there. I just put Asgard as like where you'd start, Thor base world,
okay,
etc.
I like it. I like it.
Let me
What else you got for me, Reed?
fix my pen here. There we go. All right. We are doing. So I wanted to get like a little bit more I kind of wanted to, I didn't want to like intersperse like more cartoonish worlds with more realistic worlds, because it would kind of be like more of a violent transition. So there's a couple of those I want, but I thought it'd be fun to do an Indiana Jones world. But I also thought, so remember how I said there were some that I was going to get your opinion on.
Okay.
So it's like, would you think it'd be more fun to do like an Indiana Jones, like dungeon crawler, or like Lara Croft Tomb Raider?
Why Indiana Jones?
I mean, obviously a very famous.
Yeah, I guess it is under. It's a Lucasfilm. Yeah, I guess it is a Lucasfilm thing. You know, I'm thinking only Star Wars, but obviously it goes over to the, Indiana Jones.
And Harrison Ford's in Indiana Jones, and
okay,
so kind of a fun little dynamic.
So what was the question again?
So I kind of put them both, but I'm conflicted if I'd want both or if they're too similar. You know, because I mean, obviously you're both.
I would go more like realistically. Like I think branching out to other Square Enix properties is awesome. I think it's a great idea, but I think they would probably want to keep it at least locked into like these are Disney like owned properties. So I would say Indiana Jones. Plus, I think that would be a much cooler. I think that would be much cooler than Tomb Raider. Honestly, to see Indiana Jones, that would be so cool, man. And honestly, it's one of those things that I didn't even think of. But obviously, it's true. Now that I feel like an idiot because I asked you why Indiana Jones. That's Lucasfilm. That's part of Disney. They own that. That's amazing. I want Indiana Jones now. Yeah, that would be so cool.
Yep. So all right, yeah. So I was kind of torn on that, so we'll swap these. I like that. All right. So let's see, Indiana Jones, Lucasfilm. Let's take a break off of that. Oh, so I actually did go another Square world. Okay. And I don't know how familiar you are with this, but it's been a series. It's been a huge part of my life since I was a little kid. And I'm going to drop some trivia here on you. Okay. So way back when the original Final Fantasy was being created, there was a power struggle in the community. And there were 3 studios, and they were all battling to take control of like this new JRPG trend, right? So there are 3 games that came out around the same time, fighting for the same market, if you will. Phantasy Star, which, oh god, Phantasy Star 3, so good. Or Fantasy, well, 3 and 4. There's Final Fantasy 1, and then Dragon Warrior, which is now Dragon Quest.
Oh yeah.
I'm going Erdrea, Dragon Quest 11.
Wow, that would be cool too, man.
Because that's also like this probably one of the second most popular Square properties of all time.
I mean, I mean, it's Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy is all pioneers of the
and Dragon Quest 11 has like that animated almost cartoonish.
It would fit.
You know, yeah. So you can kind of start transitioning a little bit. So,
and if they even want to, Dragon Quest 12 has been announced, and it looks like it's going, you know, a lot darker or whatever. But yeah, they could kind of like tie it in a little bit. That would be the first time well, maybe it's not the first time, but it would be such a big moment to combine finally Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy kind of come together a little bit. That would be a big deal.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, and again, you know, you're saying something about Disney Worlds, but if Disney's going to branch out to Lucasfilm, which I think they are certainly going to do, or Marvel, which we both think they're certainly going to do, I think it's only fair that Square can branch out as well. I mean, you know,
if they're going to go that direction, yeah, like it would be, and like you said at the top of the show, like they have gone with this dramatic, like art style change. I mean, just look at his shoes. You know what I mean? Like that's it, bro. Like that's the clue to everything. His shoes are
damn Daniel back again with those shoe jokes.
damn, Sora, back at it again. But yeah, so like he's not in those big old shoes anymore, man. And I think that's a clear sign that we're branching out to different things. Plus, it feels like a soft reboot anyway. It's a new story arc that we're getting. It's not the Dark Seeker saga anymore. It's the Lost Master. So it kind of feels like this is an opportunity for them to say, all right, let's break the mold and kind of bring Disney into our world now. That's kind of cool. I love the concept of that, and there's nothing that's saying that that's not going to happen. Like, so your idea here is not completely off base and just like, this is ridiculous, Reed. Like, it could happen.
I'm finding a little thread and I'm seeing how far I can pull it.
Yeah. I know that Disney is very particular about how their characters are used. So that would be my only thing. That would be like, okay, I don't know if Disney would want their character to come into this world. But that's the only thing that I can think of right now. Like, it's up to what the legality of it all and stuff.
I also think, like, bringing them into Square's world, it's like, I mean, Square's been integrating Disney into their world, and they've made a huge profit, like a lot of money and a huge following off of it. So I don't think that they would be like, hey, by the way, we appreciate you doing all this and now like reanimating Kingdom Hearts with like a Luminous engine, which is like the big Square engine that came out with like Versus 13. But in being like, yeah, that's really great, but also could you just like keep your guys out of this? Like, this is kind of our thing, I don't think they do that. Yeah. I think I agree with what you say. I think that there is, I wouldn't say an internal struggle, but there is. I'm sure every day, it's like trying to get someone to like subtly quit smoking. It's like, hey, it'd be really cool to get a Dragon Quest in here.
Yeah.
Hey.
And like Kingdom Hearts. I know this is like a little side quest here I'm taking, but like Kingdom Hearts 4 was revealed. I know it's probably common knowledge, but I don't know if you knew this. It was Unreal Engine 4, the trailer, and they've already announced they're switching over to Unreal Engine 5. Like,
oh wow,
it's gonna look just so much more mind blowing when they show the next time for Kingdom Hearts 4.
But that scares me because you remember, again, Versus 13 was released, and it's like we're coming up with this new engine. It's gonna be made. It's like, sorry, this engine has taken us 12 years to do. It's not Versus 13 anymore. It's Final Fantasy 15.
This is technically, and this is another thing that you might not know about. This is technically like Final Fantasy Versus 13 in a way. Like Kingdom Hearts 4 is technically Nomura saying, all right, we're gonna do Versus 13, but we're gonna put it in Kingdom Hearts now. And like they've kind of had that same aesthetic, the same like feel in the trailer, and they already said that internally they call it Verum Rex, which you need to play Kingdom Hearts 3 to really understand what that is. But so the Verum Rex is within Kingdom Hearts 3, and it's almost shot for shot Versus 13. Like the guy Yozora is basically what Noctis was in that trailer, and they call Kingdom Hearts 4 internally, they're calling it Verum Rex. So once again, supporting kind of your side here of where you're like, they could branch out and do other worlds. They could do Final Fantasy worlds and stuff like that. It just makes so much sense because internally they're even thinking of this as something different than Kingdom Hearts. Like they're calling it Verum Rex. So if Verum Rex is supposed to be the flip side where you're in Final Fantasy realistic worlds and Disney is going to be kind of seeping in there like you're saying, it works out, man.
Yeah.
Out. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to drop that little bit of
that's really interesting. Yeah. Sorry, but we'll finish mine up and hey Seven Deadly, welcome aboard.
Yeah,
thanks everyone for hanging out with us as we do some more theory crafting here. It's probably fine. I was thinking maybe we could just keep them up on the board so people could see what we've pitched, but
I can do that.
Yeah,
I can fill them in while you're. I'll say these are Reed's picks.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I'll fill them in while you give me your next one.
All right. So my next one's wish fulfillment.
Okay.
Nottingham or Sherwood Forest. Get me some Robin Hood.
Oh, bringing in the Robin Hood.
That's what I want, man.
Robin Hood Disney owned? Like that's
Oh yeah.
Disney
I mean, yeah. You haven't seen the old? I mean, you know the old cartoon Robin Hood.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We're going the cartoon Robin Hood. I didn't know that was Disney's Robin Hood though. But yeah. Okay. That would.
Yeah, we're talking.
So we're
talking
going
Disney classics.
We got to bring in a classic. You know what I mean? I like that. I like your thinking there, bringing in the classic. So, and Robin Hood is one of those that, you know, it's obscure for me at least, but that's cool. Like it's an obscure Disney classic. When I think of Disney classics, I don't think Robin Hood. But
oh yeah, that's like that.
That's cool.
Lion King and Aladdin were my jam.
Okay, I like it. And is that your last pick there, Reed?
No, I have two more, and these are like the two end worlds.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna let you catch up, and I'm gonna sort out my notes here.
Okay, so I've got Reed's pick: Stark Tower from the Avengers, Midgar from Final Fantasy VII, Indiana Jones, and then we also came up with what were the one we were just talking about, Reed? Not Robin Hood, but the one before that.
There's Asgard and Metroville.
Oh, there you go, Asgard. Asgard from Thor, and then we have Metroville from The Incredibles.
Yeah.
These are Reed's picks here. As you can see, Reed's kind of going a little outside the box. I love it.
Oh, actually, I have a couple more.
What was the one from Robin Hood?
Sherwood Forest or Nottingham. You can just do Sherwood.
Did I spell that right?
Yeah. It is.
Sherwood Forest from Robin Hood.
Robin Wood.
I hate like people can see me mess up as I type. Sherwood Forest from Robin Wood.
There's a hold up. Hold up. The man pulled a gun at Dean Lumber today. He was Robin Wood.
Robin Wood. The master villain.
My God.
All right. So what was after that?
So, all right, this is one of the ones where I have a tie.
Okay.
And you can help me pick. I wanted to do one where I was thinking like physics and all that stuff like that. And pi equals.
I've
so I was thinking,
you know what's cooler than magic?
We're exploring a lot of like sci-fi elements here with, you know, the Bifrost, Stark Tower with like, I mean, you think the Gummy ship was incredible back in the day. It's just like a Lego in zero gravity. Now we're getting to the real good stuff. But I wanted to do like a shrink level.
Okay.
So I was torn between the quantum realm with Ant-Man or Inside Out, which is one of my favorite modern Pixar movies.
Okay. All right. So I got to go with Inside Out because it's on my list. But
oh really?
Yeah, I have Inside Out on my list. I love that movie.
That's funny.
It is actually it's one of my favorite Disney Pixar movies of all time. So I think Inside Out. But I do like the idea of Ant-Man. Quantum World would just be insane. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Or I mean, honestly, you could almost even do both. Like you can do Quantum Realm with Inside Out or something. But like So, like I was saying earlier with, like, Loki, the idea of, like, the Asgard world would be how the Heartless are turning Loki, pushing him towards, like, an evil direction. It's, like, more about the internal battle for his soul kind of thing. And that would be, like, the idea of, like, an inside-out world, was you're fighting the Heartless from within someone. Yeah. I mean, hell, it could even be inside Loki, you know? Like, you can make him a huge part of this. I mean, and everyone is absolutely crazy for Loki, so that'd probably be like super popular. But yeah, that's kind of like the thought, was either you're fighting another big part of my thought process behind this was how the Heartless spread throughout the universes, the galaxies, you know, everything like that. So like the Bifrost. It's like space travel. Like, man, those Heartless are really technologically advanced. But yeah, like, and actually, my final boss is a big part of how the Heartless are like dispersed throughout the universe. And so I thought the Quantum Realm would be a really cool way to explore that, and then Inside Out would be a really cool way to explore the internal struggle, like with the Heartless, as they're like poisoning your heart, kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's the thought process behind that. So, and that brings me to, I would say 3 final levels, but I want to narrow it down to 2, so I'm going to get your opinion on it.
Okay.
The first final level, which is a guarantee, Coruscant.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Home of the Senate from Star Wars. And it can be all about how the Emperor and the dark side of the Force is working with the Heartless. I think
counter. Got to counter that. Because, like, if we're going yes. If they want to do one from each trilogy, that'd be amazing. Because then you could have Coruscant as the prequel trilogy Star Wars, but I feel like it might be too much Star Wars. Too many worlds in Kingdom Hearts, which that doesn't sound right coming out of my mouth, like too much Star Wars. I didn't like that.
So Coruscant is Coruscant is like the House of the Senate during the Civil War, but during the Empire, it's also the seat of the Emperor. So I mean, you pretty much for any timeline it can work. It was because the other idea was like Tatooine.
Yeah, right. Because that's being used so much nowadays.
But I wanted the inner workings of like how it, especially with like Kenobi coming out.
Yes.
Like, tell me you wouldn't love to see
Kenobi, Mandalorian. Like, Tatooine is such. It's become this like iconic location for Star Wars now. Especially Disney just has this infatuation with Tatooine.
I really wanted to leave out like all the Rey stuff though. I don't want.
Oh, I'm with you.
I wouldn't want that. I would want it to be.
I feel like Nomura and his team would probably want to probably keep it classic or prequel. I feel like.
Yeah. I like the idea of prequel because I mean, especially if you did prequel Coruscant, it could be about Anakin and the Heartless. And how the Emperor is like exposing him to the Heartless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I mean, as we know, like what they show in Kingdom Hearts is not like canon in the Disney properties or anything like that. So you can pretty much go as nuts as you want. Cant. Yeah, there you go.
Gotcha. Coruscant. Oh, from Star Wars, obviously.
Yeah. So that is the final. Not like the. You know how like Hallowed Bastion's is like the final world, but there's like the two paths and like the 2 final worlds of those paths before they converge in like the actual final world is what I'm saying. So we're at the 2 final parts of the paths.
Okay.
Coruscant's the end of one path, and then the end of the other path. I think I know where I'm going to go, but another idea I had would be Sin.
Ooh.
Because you know how like you get attacked by, we were just talking intergalactic space whale, you know?
Yeah.
So I would love the idea of going inside Sin because...
Like a Monstro-esque.
Yeah, exactly. But like you, Yevon, the whole part of like why Sin perpetually destroys Sphera is because his heart is like gone black because he's so angry that Zanarkand was destroyed by Bavel and all that stuff. So I mean that fits in with like the Heartless theme pretty well, like because it's like the internal darkness and all that stuff. And I mean,
there's one theme that I actually have kind of I wouldn't say it's prevalent in my list because it's only like maybe 2 or 3, but Afterworld is kind of a theme from the trailer, like because in the trailer I think they say you can think of this world as kind of an afterworld, and so if you're thinking of an afterworld, that matches up like anything like Sin or Dreams Zanarkand or like that was Vinny's picks, by the way. Shout out to Vinny. I couldn't make it today, but but yeah, he picked Dreams Zanarkand.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's alive. We're just like shout out to Vinny. Like,
Vinny.
is for you.
This is for you, Vinny. Could be here today. Could be here today. Yeah. He's at work.
No, he's upstairs. He's changing my light bulbs. He's in the attic. Actually, could you keep it down, Vinny, please? We're trying to
come on, man. Come on. Yeah, so it fits in with the with that Afterworld theme. All right. So I guess it would converge on whatever Kingdom Heartsy original world is what you're saying.
So, no.
No. Okay.
So it's kind of a combo, but it harkens. Okay. It's the word of the day. Harkens back to the original Kingdom Hearts. I like it. Like I said, like that was like my honorable mention. Also, a really cool idea with doing Sin. You know, I mean, who doesn't remember Destiny Islands fighting with little Titus?
Yeah.
And it's obviously been years.
Yeah.
Right. So how cool would it be to go inside Sin and you find Titus there, and he's there, and you fight Jecht with him. That
would be pretty epic, actually.
Full circle. However, I think I'm going to. I do think I'm going to scratch that one just because this is the least likely, but it's my true wish fulfillment.
Okay.
But another big part of this is I want to bring back the people who were integral in like Kingdom Hearts, but then kind of never were again. So Path 1 ends with Coruscant. Path 2 ends with Balam Garden.
Oh man. Yeah.
Because Balam Garden is a ship, and Leon Squall seems like he's pretty intent on this whole fight against the Heartless kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. But he's just like stuck in Traverse Town because his world got destroyed, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say you get him back to Balam Garden, you retake Balam Garden from the Heartless, and then you go on to the final level, which Maleficent is a dark witch who rules Hollow Bastion, right? Mm-hmm. Ultimecia is a
dark witch,
dark witch
sorcerer
who controls time travel and universal travel, all that stuff. So again, like how I was talking about, how it comes back to how are the Heartless?
God,
how are the Heartless spreading over time and space? Ultimecia has unlimited access to. She is the ruler of time and space.
Can you imagine a team up of Ultimecia and Maleficent together?
And that's what I'm saying. And
what?
You can
That's
fight
an awesome team up.
Yeah, and then so it's like at World's End, or End of the World from the original Kingdom Hearts. You do Ultimecia's castle, and then you go to like the final zone, which I don't know what it would be, but I think it would be like a super team up of the Emperor, Ultimecia.
Oh my god! Like Kingdom Hearts 1 had that like the meeting of the villains, and like, but in this game it's the meeting of like a mix of Disney and Final Fantasy and Star Wars and Marvel. Like Thanos is at the table, or Loki, I guess. But like that would just so crazy. It's like amazing.
You're not just fighting the Heartless now. Now you're fighting like how the Heartless spread.
It made me also think, like, dude, like the word Afterworld is now ringing in my head. Afterworld kind of makes sense of like, what if this is the afterlife for worlds, like worlds that were destroyed, kind of like are here. And if Final Fantasy VIII was a world that was destroyed, you get to visit it now because it's in the Afterworlds. Type thing. That would be interesting. So like going now, that's kind of the reason why you're able to go back to these worlds, since they were claimed to be destroyed.
Well, I would say so. Balam Garden's like a ship, so I would almost argue that Balam Garden was able to escape the destruction of the world. But say Balam Garden was taken over by the Heartless. Yeah, it was taken over by the Heartless. So Balam Garden would be retaking that and then using that as like your, like Sephiroth uses Gaia, use that as your vessel through the cosmos to Ultimecia's castle, which is my next. So I would put Ultimecia's castle, and then for the last one, I would just put like Final Zone. I don't have a name for it. I like Afterworld. That's a cool idea. Or just literally call the last world like time and space.
Ultimecia's castle. And then you said time and space. Did I spell that right?
Yep, you did.
Okay, Ultimecia's castle.
Very, very, very proud of you.
Thank you, man. Everybody can watch me mess up as I write it. Time and freaking space. Like, Let's just
and it brings it together perfectly because Star Wars, space. Half of Avengers, Asgard, space. You know, Inside Out, is kind of space. You know.
So Reed's picks Stark Tower from the Avengers, to be kind of that like
the headquarters.
Kick things off with Midgar from Final Fantasy VII to rip off the Band-Aid and just tell you like, hey, things are different now. You're visiting Square Worlds, and then Indiana Jones, which is one that kind of snuck in I didn't think about, but it's now on my list. It will be on the finalized list, guaranteed. Indiana Jones, then Asgard from Thor, Metroville from Incredibles, the Sherwood Forest from Robin Hood. I guess I just said the mind or whatever, inside the mind or...
it would be someone's mind.
Dude,
like,
what if you go inside the mind of like some other character?
Well, that's what I was saying. I like the idea of doing
Sora.
inside. Well, I was saying inside Loki.
Inside Loki.
Like
that's
if you want to if you want to have him like as a major plot point, because like the whole Asgard thing would be about his internal battle.
I'm almost like now I'm more curious of like inside the mind of Goofy. Like,
dude, I just want to hear demonic Garsh. Gorsh, like
Gorsh. Yeah. Oh my god!
Like, it's as like the hand from like Super Smash Bros. Like swipes across the map. Gorsh. It's like it'd be like fighting Andros in like N64.
Yeah.
Like where it's just like his head and like the hands. But it's Goofy. It's like SWAT.
What is Goofy's Islands of Personality? You know, like what do we got to visit?
I do kind of like the idea of the Inside Out being like inside Sora too. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be probably more ideal and
maybe you can even have Bing Bong.
And Bing Bong.
Because we all want Bing Bong. Come on. I Bing Bong, you Bing Bong, he, she, we Bing Bong.
So Inside Out, I feel like is a perfect world there. That'll be on the final list, I guarantee it. Coruscant from Star Wars, the prequel trilogy, actually just from Star Wars in general. Balam Garden from Final Fantasy VIII. Ultimecia's castle, making Ultimecia kind of like the Maleficent of the story. And then Time and Space, which ties everything together. These are Reed's picks, and you know what, Reed, I like it. There are some things I think we're going to tweak for our final list, because
the order I think would need to be tweaked for sure. Because I can almost guarantee you. Well, the thing is, I think that they'd want to stick with like the high, like the strong
opening.
The graphics, like to maintain like the new engine and stuff like that. They're showing off in the trailer. That's why I figured they want to do Stark Tower and do like a big city where they can really show it off. But I also think that, do I really think they'd go that long before they just went into a straight Disney Pixar property?
Oh,
that's my question.
I feel you on that.
So one of those I think would have to move up the list. But other than that, yeah.
There's a lot of really good ideas on this one, Reed. I like it. All right, so that's Reed's list. I think we're gonna go ahead and jump into my list. What do you guys think in chat? We got too much Star Wars since Lego Skywalker Saga covers pretty much everything. I agree. That they did a really good job of covering that. And then Disney films are coming right up, dude. They're on my picks. So just stay tuned as I go ahead and I got to go through all of them and just write world. Let me just copy and paste. But yeah, so we're gonna reset, and I'll give you my worlds. My worlds are gonna be a little bit more traditional to what Kingdom Hearts is, and then after I give you my worlds,
oh god, Sword in the Stone, yeah, Seven Deadly. Oh my god, dude, Camelot, yo, all right, that's
Sword in the Stone could. I think you could like replace Robin Hood. I don't know, man. I feel like Sword in the Stone's a little bit more. I feel like maybe I'm hurt your heart there. Like, is Robin Hood's like a really important movie to you?
The heart as like the shadow starts to grab me and I turn to heartless. Like.
Yeah, Robin Hood's an important movie to you, and I'm just like, oh yeah, definitely get rid of Robin Hood off the list.
Well, I've also like my whole life been like a huge mythology nerd, and like so Robin Hood actually had like its own mythology and everything I used to follow. So, but I mean, also, you know, this guy named King Arthur also has a bit of mythology that I also obsessed over. So
Yeah.
I really like both of them kind of equally. So
That'd be really
I mean,
cool.
in a perfect world, you could always have both.
It's a keyblade in a stone.
Or yes.
Yes.
Dude, that's a great idea.
All right, so here's what I'm thinking, Reed. I don't really have the order down. Like, I don't have like the world you go to first to kick things off with. But I believe I'm just going to get this one out there right off the bat. I believe Encanto is going to be in this game. I just feel like it's a shoo-in at this point. We don't talk about Bruno. It was kind of, it overtook Let It Go in terms of popularity, which I didn't.
Thank God. At least Let It Go finally died.
Yeah, Let It Go finally was gone.
They finally unironically let it go.
So I think Encanto is on there. Like,
I think between Encanto, Soul, which is I think another strong contender, or like the Raya one.
Okay,
or,
yeah.
I think Moana was but I think it's going to be one of like the newest ones. So I think Encanto is probably a strong pick on that.
So here was my generalized thinking here. I think of also gameplay. What world could introduce variety in the gameplay? Like, so when you look back at other Kingdom Hearts games, each world has its own unique twist on the formula, and they definitely lean into that with Kingdom Hearts 3 a lot, where the gameplay just kind of takes its twist. So I kind of looked at it that way. So with Encanto, you do have it's a very magical world. It's I feel like it's the more traditional style, but so maybe it might be the best way to open it up. But also Frozen kind of waited until a little bit later for Kingdom Hearts 3, so maybe you wait for one of your most popular movies. I'm not sure how that would go down, but anyways, I didn't really think of it any kind of fun gameplay mechanic. If you guys in chat or anybody watching, if you have like, how would you like to experience Encanto in Kingdom Hearts? Because let's be honest, it's gonna be there.
What if like the whole battle is like, my God, the Heartless have learned Spanish?
That's it. Yeah.
or like the whole level is like you have to learn Spanish because all of the dialogue is in Spanish and it doesn't translate.
That's it. Yeah. If you want to know what's going on, you better figure it out. All right. So then I would say Star Wars, because when we looked at the trailer, we saw what looked like an ATST foot. Yeah. So it just kind of gives off that little bit of a subtle hint that there's going to be Star Wars here. And I got to thinking, well, what would be the best place to do Star Wars? And I thought of a bunch of other different places besides Endor, even though the trailer was a very woodsy area that I guess if you had to relate it to anything, it could be either Yavin or Endor. Those are your or that place where Rey was at the end of in Skywalker. What was she? I don't see. Look, that's how much.
That's back on Tatooine.
No, in the jungle area where she was doing her training.
Oh,
was she back on Yavin? I see. That's how much the sequel trilogy stuck with me. Like, Force Awakens was one of my favorite movies of all time, but that's a different story.
I've seen that movie twice. And the others one time.
Oh my God!
and it will remain that way.
So basically, what we're saying is, I don't think we're gonna see sequel trilogy stuff.
Hoth would be really cool though, because it has the AT-ATs, and you're talking about cool gameplay. You flew the gummy ships. It'd be basically like that. You could like pilot a ship on Hoth during a battle, but I don't know how that
bring in snow. Like I was thinking of different biomes, and I'm like, well, Hoth has the snow, a snowy area. It has a big set piece of like you'll be able to maybe swing around, like you're saying, bring down one of the walkers by like the classic Star Wars maneuver. You have Luke, Leia, and Han. They're all there. They're all in the area. But another place, if the trailer is any indication of where we would go with Star Wars, Endor. Let's just stick with Endor. That would be a pretty incredible level for Star Wars because all the characters are there. Like I said, I mean, you have Luke, Han, Leia, and your Darth Vader is there. You got Palpatine. Everybody's there. Speeder chase through the woods would be incredible. Then you infiltrate that base with Han, right? Han Solo and the group, Chewie and everybody. And then you have your Keyblade turns into a key saber, and you duel Darth Vader and Palpatine alongside Luke.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be dope.
That's freaking epic.
Endor. A choice that really beckons the question, when's the last time you thought about how much you hate Ewoks?
They'll be there too. So that was Endor from Star Wars.
Yeah, for like the jungle, like you mentioned, I was like, man, I really want like a jungle or forest.
Yeah.
And that's what led me to Sherwood Forest.
See, and the other thing I had on my list, and I took it off the list because of two different movies or two different properties. Endor takes over the jungle theme, and then I have Moana on my list. I think Moana is going to be there. It's Disney's latest, or one of Disney's latest. It was very popular. It has Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who could come in and voice Maui.
He unironically has to be in everything.
He's got to be in everything.
Yeah.
So
he's muscular Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
He's in everything. He's going to be in the next Bruce Almighty movie as God.
As God. Yeah, I mean, Rock's got to be in everything. As long as heaven is made of a jungle, he'll be there. You know what I mean? Like, as long as it's a jungle style movie, he'll be there.
By the way, looking at chat, I really do like the idea of Treasure Planet. God knows I love Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet. I had.
But that just makes me want to watch Muppet Treasure Isle even more, though.
Yeah. To kind of go back real quick, I started something. I didn't put Jungle Cruise on there. I kind of had Jungle Cruise on there with The Rock and Emily Blunt to be the realistic world that would take the place of pirates. I thought, what if they put Jungle Cruise in there? I think there's a sequel on the way. I'm not sure. And then I was like, well, if Moana's there, The Rock, I don't know if The Rock could be in two. You know what I mean? In two worlds as Maui and himself in Jungle Cruise. So
they would probably make him like your guest character, like a playable character.
Yes.
But it's not even like his character's name. It's just Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But yeah, so I was like, I had Jungle Cruise on there, but I took it off the list to replace it with Moana, which is my next pick.
I really appreciate you doing that.
I appreciate you doing that. Oh God, I wasn't expecting.
Quotes of the cast.
I really appreciate you doing that. All right, so Moana to be that ocean level. All right, because with Moana you'd be able to go go down there to fight Tamotor, which would be a kind of cool place to go down to, and then you go open sea combat versus Taka, which would be pretty epic set piece. And it's on the water, so it kind of takes over that pirates theme. And you get Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to come in there and be the voice of Maui. And he'll probably be your guest character. Moana's also a princess, so if they're kind of going with the princesses of heart, again, if they need more princesses or whatever, Moana will be there. And, dude, what if Leia is a princess of heart? What?
I mean, you know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's something we didn't even talk about, but like, yeah, I had that in some consideration. Like, that's, you know it.
Come on, you know it. And then
it's either gonna be her or May. It's gonna be either Leia or Padme Amidala.
Oh yeah, I like Padme.
It's gonna be one of them.
Yeah, Leia for sure though, probably. But all right, so I've got Encanto, Endor, Moana, and then after that, I think I'm gonna throw in my Avengers pick right now. So we were talking about it a little earlier, and I had a counter there, but I never told you what world I think would be there. So we talked about you had Asgard, you had Stark Tower. Those are your Marvel picks. I only have one Marvel property in my list. And I was like, what's a good place for that? We talked about how Spider-Man probably won't be there due to the exclusivity with Sony. They'd have to get permissions if they want to put it on other platforms and all this other stuff.
Won't happen.
Yeah, it's a lot to do for Spider-Man. That would probably be the ideal thing, though, to have Spider-Man. But Square's already made a Guardians game, so like let's not go to Titan and fight Thanos, which was my pick. And then I changed it because I thought that would be a really cool fight. A really cool, go to
for sure.
All right, let's go back to Avengers 1. We'll go to the Helicarrier. I feel like that would be a really cool place to have because you have your downtime where you can meet the Avengers, your core Avengers basically, and then you go up to the sky, which changes up the biome. Now you're in the sky, and I mean the Hulk is rampaging through, and that would be a fun little thing to do. So, and then also Loki would be there as well.
Actually,
very popular.
Yeah, well, I think Loki would be, dude. So, obviously, Age of Ultron wasn't ideal as an Avengers movie, but I just had this really cool thought. What if, all right, so in my list, let's say, the Stark Tower, right? And this plays into the Heart list. So what if Ultron is actually a big boss in my list as well? Because his whole point of Ultron wanting to destroy the human race is you have hearts, therefore you can be corrupted by the Heartless. Whereas I, Ultron, don't have a heart. I can't be corrupted. So the only way to stop the Heartless is to destroy anything with a heart.
Dang. Okay, I like that. Yeah, that's cool. So if like, I still like I still think of it with the Helicarrier because you changed up the biome.
That's just a thought. I love the Helicarrier idea, dude. That's a good idea.
I like Ultron. Obviously, it's not the most popular, but Ultron is kind of coming back.
You could also redeem it.
Yeah, and then in the multiverse, though, the Multiverse of Madness, there's a bunch of Ultrons, or at least the Ultron centuries going around. Here's my other pick to kind of throw it out there. I wanted to like pitch this idea to you because the Helicarrier was where I landed, or I guess took off. But, dude, how epic would this be? Take a trip with me, man. Take a mind trip with me. We're about to take a mind trip. All right, here we go, bro. Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension. How epic would that be, where they're like the city is literally spiraling around you. You saw in the trailer of him using that little keychain thing that comes out and pulls them. Like imagine like you're in the mirror dimension. It's kind of like the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, which you haven't really experienced that, but they kind of do something where they box in the city on you, which was incredible. But you can imagine doing that again, but for the mirror dimension. That would be almost one of the coolest ways to start the game. Like, to really just throw you into, like, this just epic set piece, the mirror dimension going on, or just get it closer to the end of the game. So I like the mirror dimension a lot, but it's Doctor Strange, which is not really like, hey, you're getting Marvel World into your Kingdom Hearts. What do you want? I don't know if anybody's gonna be like, I want Doctor Strange mirror dimension, but
it's also a way to tie between Disney and Marvel and how different all the worlds are, which is like part of what my list was trying to do, is explain how you kind of get between all these different things. So I mean, that would be a perfect way to do that. So I mean, no, I dig that a lot. That's
okay, a good one. Awesome. Yeah. So that was on my list. I'm gonna put it in there. I'll put it in later, but I love the mirror dimension, as it also kind of is like the thing nowadays with Avengers, like multiverse, and Doctor Strange is kind of the new Iron Man for the MCU.
Yep.
Okay, so then I go over to a fun pick, a fun one in there. I think Cars. Dude, imagine Sora, Donald, and Goofy as Cars. Like it's an outfit change. They're cars. And then it's like a racing. It changes up the whole meta. The whole formula has changed, and now you get a driving game within Kingdom Hearts.
And the villain could be Dwayne The Rock Johnson as a car.
And it's Dwayne The Rock
or it's Vin Diesel. Like Vin Diesel. Like
it's all about family.
Yeah.
It's all about friends.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's not about family in Kingdom Hearts. Do not be mistaken. We found that out. It's all about friends.
Yeah, Sora hasn't asked about his mom in 20
Doesn't
years.
Care. Doesn't care.
He cares more about being turned into a car.
But yeah,
that'd be, and it just like you could do like a whole like just like the whole levels like a almost like a Simpsons Hit and Run or like Grand Theft Auto almost.
Right.
Or like where it's chases and races, race and chase.
Chase and race, baby. Exactly. I do want to kind of go to the chat real quick to kind of catch up. Rydia Farron says, Bolt. That was one. Imagine the characters being turned into dogs. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
So Bolt. We got Princess and the Frog, which was actually on my list, and then I had the jungle already, and I was like, I mean, I guess. And then I also had music, so because I put Soul in on which is my next pick. So Soul is my next pick. Princess and the Frog was competing because I was like, okay, well, I already have a jungle level, I already have a music level, but Soul is a Disney Pixar property where Princess and the Frog is a straight up Disney property. I mean, obviously it all falls under the Disney umbrella. It's all Disney, but it's a Disney movie, and I was like, Princess and the Frog, what does that offer in terms of gameplay, like a unique gameplay? And I couldn't think of anything, whereas Soul just feels like it could be a music centric, like a very like rhythm based game. I don't know, you throw in a rhythm based mini games and stuff, and then you also get the Afterworld theme, whereas Soul is all about the afterlife. And if we're kind of sticking with Afterworld, I felt like Soul fit in a little bit better than Princess and the Frog. So that's why my next pick is Soul.
I want to address the Ice Age idea because God knows I love Ice Age. What would be so funny though is if there was like an Ice Age level and you could all turn to dinosaurs. I mean, we all love dinosaurs. Let me tell you. Let me give
different prehistoric animals.
Let me give you 3 words. All you need.
Okay.
Read like dinosaur.
Read like dinosaur.
Quotes of the cast. All right, but like, really appreciate
Square
you doing that. Really appreciate you doing that. Just keep the Rock's name out your damn mouth. Like,
keep the Rock's name.
But like, wouldn't it be like hilarious if you did Ice Age and like it turns out like that one nut that Squirrel's been chasing for like 8 movies is actually somehow like the key to like the universe. Like it's like a cause like what's the word like cosmically like relevant acorn. Acorn.
The acorn is the keyhole.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to be chasing the acorn throughout the entire level with Strat. Yeah.
Exactly.
And Ice Age is relevant because Disney bought Fox. So now you have that property for sure. So Ice Age could be there. Good point. That was from 7 Deadly Streamers, I believe. And then, so I threw in Soul while we were talking. So Soul is there, and that was our music-centric one. Cars with the changing up to a driving game. I'm trying to catch up. Did I finish? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 2 more that I haven't said yet. I had The Incredibles on my list as well.
Okay.
That was on Reed's list. I think The Incredibles will be there just because it is the highest-grossing Disney Pixar movie. So why not? It should be there. Kind of brings in that Big Hero 6 flavor. There he goes. Yeah.
Yep.
That's it. All right, Vincent Graymore. There you go, man. He got it. There's a code.
Man, You missed all that talk about Dwayne the Rock Johnson just so he could find the codes.
Just so he could find the code.
That sounds like the plot of the next Dwayne the Rock. All right. See, we shouldn't have even started. You had to say Jungle Cruise.
Keep the Rock's name out. But yeah, so anybody, if you get to it, let us know when you redeem it. I'm curious who gets to redeem that. It was an Easter egg within our stream, and Vincent found it, but it doesn't seem like he's redeeming it. So, so we go with, I have The Incredibles, like I said, highest grossing Pixar film. It's there, and then I put Indiana Jones back on my list as we were talking in yours. So that's my list of like, here's what I think's gonna be there, and then I have a bunch where I'm just like, there are so many great opportunities here, Reed. I'm gonna list some off to you. You let me know if you're like, hey, that goes on there, and that goes up for at least it goes up to be voted on for the finalized list. Emperor's New Groove.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, it's like right away, does that go on there?
I mean, that's a strong start.
Right. Emperor's New Groove. Finding Nemo kind of brings in that underwater Little Mermaid that we haven't really done since back in Kingdom Hearts 1. We haven't really gone underwater, if I remember correctly. So you get to kind of go underwater.
You do Finding Nemo, but like it's not Nemo or Dory, the playable, or Bruce the shark. The findable, or the guest character, the playable character, is actually just those seagulls that scream "mine" the whole time. Mine. Imagine like Donald death noises, like Donald's getting pelted by like sea turtles, and there's a seagull just like mine. Like, you're not helping. You're not helping. Like, you know, when you cast like Blizzard, you're like eat freeze, but when it casts Blizzard, it says mine.
Every sound effect is mine.
Yeah, exactly.
Finding Kyrie, or Finding Mickey, or Finding Sora, or whatever. It's all those worlds.
So I love the idea of Moana just because, well, you know, growing up Hawaiian, I love all that mythology and all that stuff like that. But man, if I had to pick between that and Finding Nemo, that's a really tough one. Because I think Moana, you know, they want to use newer properties while they're still hot, but like Finding Nemo is always going to be hot. Like that's a tough one.
And you also get your guest, or not your guest. You also get outfit change, like Sora, Donald, and Goofy would be fish, or sea creatures, to kind of go back to that Little Mermaid thing from Kingdom Hearts 1, or they can just revamp those Kingdom Hearts 1 outfits. I don't know. And then you go back under the sea, baby, for Finding Nemo. It's a possibility. Ratatouille. I thought it would be a fun one where they could do like a cooking type.
I would almost,
gameplay.
You know what? Do Ratatouille as the 100-Acre Woods. Like, it's just a mini game world where you just do cooking mini games or something like that. That would be awesome. But I can't think of how like the Heartless or anything would come into it. But like, just doing that as a mini game would be like a blast. Yeah.
I had, because it's one of my favorite Pixar movies, WALL-E.
It's a great one.
I like WALL-E.
It's a good one.
But I don't know. I mean, other than like, once again, it's a good outfit change for
I was thinking,
team to be robots.
When I was thinking about space ones, it was like that. But I was like, I don't think they'd double. They're definitely gonna use Star Wars. I didn't think they'd double up, but WALL-E was definitely a consideration. Okay. I love WALL-E.
Yeah. And you could have it take place on the trash heap. Like, you know, just that changes up the scenery. Up was a cool one. Princess and the Frog we talked about. Brave also has that woodsy, so I was like, the woodsy forest type thing going on. We've kind of covered that with Encanto with the magic as well. So Brave kind of like, I don't know. What do you think? Brave.
I'm not. Yeah,
also
I'm
not the most popular.
Yeah, it's like there's somewhere they would want to like prop up popularity, and somewhere they just want to like kind of vulture off of the popularity, if you will. Like some they want to reap off it being popular, and some they want to try to make more popular. I think Brave's like right in that middle where it's like,
Wreck-It Ralph would be cool. A game within
Wreck-It
a game. A game within a game within a game, bro.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph would be pretty cool. That could be your mini game hub. Just going from literally, it's a game hub.
Dude,
you just go into different game worlds and play.
I mean, they can't get like Nintendo properties and stuff like that, but like being able to like first person play old arcade games, like you're Sora and you're going at platforms as Donkey Kong's like throwing barrels and you're jumping like just doing like that kind of stuff would be so
dude
cool.
It could also have like little mini challenges from Square Enix's past, like have a, I don't know, Final Fantasy mini challenge. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I don't know what it would be, but you can go in there and play a Final Fantasy.
Gold saucer basketball.
Yeah, there's a gold saucer basketball arcade cabinet. That would be cool. Yeah.
Like Limbrists. I just love how like he just.
I'm putting Wreck-It Ralph on there, man. That's now on my pick because I think that would be a great. I
honestly, I thought Wreck-It Ralph was on Kingdom Hearts 3. Honestly.
He was a summon, right?
That might be it.
Oh crap! You know what? I don't think he was a world, but he was a summon. Wreck-It Ralph, Kingdom Hearts. I just want to make sure what I'm, because it has been a bit since I played. He was a full summon. He was a summon. All right, so Wreck-It Ralph. Let's go to his world. Doesn't matter if he was a summon because Simba was a summon in Kingdom Hearts 1. He came in there in his world in Kingdom Hearts 2. So, yep. So I have Wreck-It Ralph. I think that would be a great way to replace the Winnie the Pooh stuff and get a arcade cabinet mini games to play. That's cool. And then we go.
And actually, it would be really cool is you can do the mini games, but that would also be a great place to have a secret boss, like a hidden boss.
Oh, yeah. I like it. Or you could go in there and play the games. Like you're in the arcade going around to each cabinet playing the games, and then you can go into the plug and go inside the game, and like there's a storyline that's going on there. That would be cool.
I mean that's basically Tron.
That's true. This is true.
Just combine Wreck-It Ralph and Tron. Tron's Disney.
Yeah, we already had Tron.
That's right.
We got Tron in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, I believe it was.
Yeah.
One of the spinoffs. And then we also got it in Kingdom Hearts 2. That's what it was. So already got Moana, Jungle Cruise. I'm really glad you did that. Jungle Cruise is not there.
I really appreciate
appreciate you doing that. I really like Luca, but I was also like Moana or Luca. They have similar vibes. Also, Luca provides an opportunity to be able to turn into a sea monster or a sea creature. Like a sea monster when you go underwater, and then you come back out as Sora. Kind of cool little dynamic there. But I didn't put that on my list. I went with Moana over that. Onward, I love that movie. Not very, it wasn't very successful, but Onward was so good.
It's underrated.
Yes, very underrated. Raya, I didn't have that on there. And then Turning Red was the latest Disney movie, Disney Pixar movie, Turning Red. But I didn't put that on there. I think I've settled on my list here. Now, is there anything that I just mentioned in Zootopia could turn your characters into animals and go into a cities type thing, maybe a little detective work type game?
Yeah, a detective idea would be good.
Mm-hmm. So you throw in. I have enough room. We have room here to incorporate both your list and my list and come up with like our definitive. This is what we want in Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah, there's no way to get the list side by side, is there?
No, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Okay.
No, not right now. So, yeah, that's what I got. I like it. I like my little list here. What do you guys think? What do you guys think in chat? Do you want us to throw something in? I have 3 open worlds. I left them open because in Kingdom Hearts, typically you have like just your original worlds. We already seen an original world in the trailer, we'll probably have more original worlds throughout. So what are you guys thinking? And as you think, and as you want to add more ideas to the list, me and Reed are going to come up with our definitive Kingdom Hearts 4 worlds we want to see.
All right, I'm gonna go. All right, so let's do it this way. All right, let's say we want to fill the list.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to. Oh wait.
See, that's the other thing is I mean, you could almost do Stark Tower and the Helicarrier. Like you can start in Stark Tower, and then something can happen, and then you go to Helicarrier.
Because it's the same like Avengers 1. It's an Avengers world.
Well, and the Helicarrier takes off from Stark Tower, like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's just like so. I mean, I would honestly combine that and say Helicarrier Stark Tower would be the base. I like that a lot. If I could pick 3 off your list that I definitely think would go, or be Wreck-It Ralph, easy. I think Moana, and there's definitely a Star Wars. So, do we want like Endor,
mm-hmm.
or do we want something like Hoth or Senate?
You had Coruscant, which was a really amazing pick. I like the idea of maybe even like from Star Wars Episode 2, where you're like flying around and doing like that chase in those hover cars. That's a really cool concept. I think with Stark Tower, whatever that opening world is that we've seen in the trailer,
mm-hmm.
we got a lot of city going on, a lot of industrial places.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have. I like Endor being the jungle, or Hoth being the ice planet, because we don't have any of these have any ice. We're not putting Frozen 2 on there or Frozen on there.
Yeah, Hoth or Endor would be the only AT-AT.
Yeah, that's true.
Options. So.
And since the trailer showed us a foresty area with that Endor, or with the AT-AT foot, that's the only thing that kind of gives me.
Yeah, we can go Endor. I'm good with that.
Okay, so we got Endor.
I think we're both on board with the Incredibles.
Oh wait, here we go. 7 Deadly Sins says maybe some live action versions of characters in a Tokyo-like world. Oh, in the world that they showed.
Yeah, I thought about that, but like I think that'd almost be like distracting, you know, because you're never gonna make everyone happy.
7 Deadly Sins.
Character models doing that too.
7 Deadly Streamers. I mean, I pitched Jungle Cruise.
Keep Jungle Cruise's name out your mouth. Oh man.
All right, so all right, Stark Tower. Okay. Reed, let's go ahead, and we have 3 worlds here that I can fill in, and then we can just kind of replace some of mine. So give me your 3 worlds off of your list that you're like, this is in the game. This is what I want the most. This is your favorite idea that you've had.
Well, I think we were on board with Indiana Jones, but we also don't have any square representation there.
That's right. We don't have that yet.
I mean, honestly, I am a big proponent of Leon coming back and actually being relevant. So the Balam Garden, Ultimeteus Castle thing, but I mean, I also would like to see Midgar. And
that would be the hot ticket. It's Final Fantasy VII, but it's also Nomura. He's very connected to 7, obviously with remake, but he also might be like, you know what, I'm just kind of tired, like, because he's got remake going on. The Final Fantasy VII. Maybe he's like, you know what, let me bring in Squall back. Let me bring Leon back and go back to Final Fantasy VIII. Let's explore something that we haven't really done too much.
Okay.
So I actually kind of think Balam Garden is good. That's a good one.
And then, I mean, if we already have Forest done, I would say Asgard.
Ooh, you really like Asgard, okay?
Or, well, I mean, I was trying to think of other square, but like, the only other square I really have would be
Dragon Quest.
Yeah, Erdrea, and Ultimeteus Castle. I would love. I mean, I would love if they could somehow tie Chrono Trigger, because that's like OG. Well,
wow,
I mean, it's not as
yeah.
OG as Final Fantasy, but like, I mean, it's probably one of the top 3 best RPGs of all time. Top 3 best Square games of all time. So I mean, that'd be really
little recent resurgence of that too, like with Chrono Cross
really
remastered and everything. I feel like out of those, Chrono Trigger would be a big one, but I feel like
Especially
Dragon Quest might even be bigger.
Yeah, but the other thing is, so my proposed last, like literally my whole theme of my list is literally time and space. So you have all the space, but then Chrono Trigger is about time travel. It's about time. So,
is it Chrono Trigger?
I
mean,
mean,
we might be able to even throw in Dragon Quest. Like, if we're gonna go with Square being inside of the, like, there's Square properties in our list, we might as well go at least 2 or 3. So we might, we could throw in Dragon Quest in there as well.
I think that would require taking one off, though.
Okay.
So, or I mean, just remove where it says Daniel's picks.
Oh, I will. Yeah. I gotta.
And that opens up a slot, but
yeah, that actually does need to be changed. All right, so I know. Hey, chat, what do you guys think? What do you think? Chrono Trigger or Dragon Quest? Hypothetically speaking, that Square properties are going to be in Kingdom Hearts 4. What would you think would be the coolest? What would you think would offer the best, like, gameplay value or gameplay change up, uniqueness? Which one would you like to see?
I thought about Nier as well, but like Nier is like Nier is just like so dark. I mean, it's amazing, but like it's just really dark, and I don't think that
might be where Disney goes.
And we also discussed discussed Tomb Raider, but we had to forego Tomb Raider for Indiana Jones because I think
Indiana Jones was the best pick. Like, yeah, that, honestly, I love that idea so much. Because that's your, like, live action that Seven Deadly was talking about. That could be also live action-ish.
And the whole thing is like you and Indiana Jones trying to find a keyhole.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you gotta. It's the whole, and going into the being chased by the ball. You got to have that, or the big boulder.
Being chased by Nazis. Bring Nazis into the
Kingdom Hearts. We're bringing Nazis into the Kingdom Hearts.
Disney Nazis.
7 Deadly Streamers. Bring back Halloween Town for Vinny. I have an update for you, 7 Deadly. Okay, Vinny said it himself. He said, you know what? He just went through it and he beat the game 100% completion. And Vinny said, you know what, guys? I think you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and.
It's Hollow Bash. He said Hollow Bash in number 1.
I mean, it was such a tough call, but like, but you know when Vinny's when he's in the Vinny passion pit down here.
He was passionate, dude.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's as passionate about Halloween Town as I am about not mentioning movies with Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Keep the Rock's name out your mouth, Reed.
Exactly. I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
Jungle Cruise. Going to be on this pick right here. I'm going to replace Daniel's pick with Jungle Cruise.
Rampage.
Rampage.
Dude, like seriously, the whole series would be dead to me if they did like the Fast and the Furious and Kingdom Hearts.
Man, come on, no. It's all about friendship. It's all about friendship. All right, so we have a couple openings here that we can just throw in there, Reed. We didn't settle on Chrono Trigger or Dragon Quest.
Well, I mean, they've also been talking about doing a remake of Chrono Trigger, whereas Dragon Quest is still being,
we got Dragon Quest 12 coming out.
Yeah, but would they? And I mean, they've already re-released 11 like 4 times. I mean, it's God, I love that game. It's great, but all that considered, I'm gonna go ahead and say Chrono Trigger. I'm gonna say he takes it back, and it fulfills the whole time and space.
I don't want that. I don't like it as number 1.
Oh wait, did you want Inside Out on here as well?
Did I not put Inside Out?
It's not on here.
Oh yeah, we gotta put that in there.
Actually, honestly, if I may, I would say between Moana, Cars, and Soul, I would say one of those could be subbed for Inside Out.
Okay, how about Moana gives you the at sea. It's a pretty big one.
Soul is the music one, which is good. Honestly, if I was going to take one out, I'd take out Cars, just because I don't think that they would actually turn Goofy's sword. And also, I mean, they can be Cars in Wreck-It Ralph. You know, this could be car mini games.
Oh yeah, I guess they could throw that in there.
Yeah, so I would take Cars out. I love the idea, but
okay, I like Cars. I like Cars, Reed. I like Cars.
Danny like car.
Hey yo, if there's 3 words, Danny like Cars. All right. Yeah, I like the idea of Cars a lot. I feel like if I was gonna replace anything, it would be Soul.
Then replace Soul. I mean, there's also singing in Moana and stuff. I almost just
the music-based, rhythm-based game. They've done that with Melody of Memory, like like the.
And also, John Batiste, the guy who did the music for Soul, just won like 5 Grammys, including Album of the Year. So I mean, they could definitely try to cash in on that with Soul.
That's true.
Which, by the way, if you don't know who that is, that's the guy who leads the band for like Late Night with Colbert.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
cool.
That's John Batiste.
Huh. That's pretty cool. Man, this is a pretty solid list. Like you said, like the weak spots are Cars, Soul, and Moana. Like,
yeah, I think one of those could go.
Cars just has a really cool gimmick, like to have a racing or a driving game. Like that changes up the formula so much. To put like now you're on wheels. You know what I mean? Now you're on wheels, man. Now you're driving around. What are you going to use as your Keyblade, Reed? How does that work? How does the Keyblade work?
Imagine like the first time anyone ever put on rollerblades. Now you're on wheels.
Now you're on. Look, it's just like walking, but now you're on wheels. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Encanto is on
Seven
there.
Deadly, exactly. Yeah. But see, it has music.
It does. Very
Encanto
musical.
is like the whole thing. So I would say if you had to pick between Encanto or Souls, or Soul,
it's a Soulsborne.
Dark. Yeah, what if it's like Dark? Yeah, Dark Souls
Dark
is
Souls.
a world, and just like everyone just gets killed like brutally.
Heartless makes a lot of sense in that world. In Encanto, yeah, for sure, man. Encanto is there.
I mean, they make a
Encanto
lot of sense in Soul too, though, because like the whole thing is the battle for the soul, like the heart.
Yeah,
of the soul.
it's Cars just doesn't fit in, but it's just a really cool gimmick. That's the only thing I got. Like, it really is the only thing I got.
I would say just have Cars be a part of Wreck-It, because I mean, Wreck-It Ralph could be like the Dark Tower of a lot of these things, where you can go to Wreck-It Ralph's world and do mini games with other worlds. Like,
true. The only thing I can think of, like with Car, like
you can do a Cars racing game. You could do a Robin Hood archery contest.
I'm thinking about like the storyline that would take place in Cars. Like, you would have what if the other organization members have to turn into Cars too? Like, what if you have to race them in the Grand Prix alongside Lightning McQueen? Chat, I'm telling you guys, whoever's watching this video right now, bring Cars back. Justice for Cars, but I'm taking it off. All right, we're taking it out. So Reed, what do we got?
I would add Asgard.
Asgard. We're going Asgard from Thor. Going Asgard. Okay. All right, so we have an open world up at the top. I just didn't like. I don't know what the first world.
Deep jungle.
The deep jungle is coming back. I hope we're like going back to the camp.
What if it's deep jungle cruise? It's like they combine everything that's terrible with deep jungle with Dwayne the Rock Johnson on a boat.
I'm putting Jungle Cruise on there, and I hope that like when you're on YouTube and like they play a tiny little snippet of the bit, I hope that it's this part. I hope they look at it and go, Jungle Cruise, really, and then they realize that we did not put that on the list after all.
No, the clip would just be like my relief when you said you didn't put it on your list. I really appreciate
You doing that. All right, so we're not leaving Jungle Cruise on there. So, all right, man. We have Encanto. We have Endor from Star Wars. Moana. Stark Tower Helicarrier, which I think is like a great one. Like, that's going to be there. Asgard from Thor. Soul. The Incredibles. Wreck-It Ralph. Indiana Jones. Balam Garden from Final Fantasy VIII. And Chrono Trigger. I think these are great picks. My my suggestion, I feel like you had other ones on your list that I feel like would fit better. How set are you on Asgard? Like, are you like Asgard is there?
Not necessarily. I was thinking of, like, obviously, like we discussed, it's like Spider-Man would be big, but Sony, Iron Man would be big, but you can have him in Stark Tower. I was just thinking of, and everyone, I mean, let's be honest, like, everyone's crazy about Loki. So, I mean, you do Asgard, it's heavy Loki. So I was kind of thinking along that line.
The Helicarrier would have Loki on board. So
that's true. So I mean, yeah, let's see. What else did I have? I mean, I had Cursant.
Hold on, I'm gonna put this on there just because I love the idea. I love Dragon Quest. Like, I love the idea of Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest together.
Well, the other thing is, like, I like the idea of, so in Kingdom Hearts, you're like traveling between worlds, you know, on your ship and all that stuff. Well, in Dragon Quest, you travel between continents on an actual ship. So that's like my water level, on my list.
Oh, okay,
so.
I got you.
So it's kind of like, yeah, you're on a ship, just not galactic. It's, you know, just more earthly, if you will.
What other did you have on your list?
Sherwood Forest, the Quantum Realm, but we did Inside Out.
Yeah, Inside Out.
Oh.
Wait, I didn't put Inside Out on there. That needs to go back on.
Oh, no, yeah, that's what we were discussing, was which one to swap out for Inside Out.
Yeah, Inside Out, for sure.
And also you forgot Doctor Strange.
Oh, the mirror dimension.
Yeah, do that instead of Asgard. Or did you already take Asgard off?
I did. I took that one off, and I put. That would be an amazing like start. Oh crap! Mirror dimension. Doctor Strange, I guess is.
I also had Sin. Ultimecia's castle, but I mean, this isn't. We're kind of leaving out the end world, but
yeah.
And again, so everyone knows, like, my thing was like super thematic towards one thing, whereas Danny's is more like, this is what Disney's probably gonna want in their games.
This is what Disney wants.
So, like, I went with a high concept Kingdom Hearts about time and space,
which is honestly. That's how you describe Kingdom Hearts. High concept. Because, like, I mean, it has some really deep themes and stuff like that, and they do kind of stick with it.
And then you have, I just like the idea of the witch in the castle with Ultimecia.
I love the idea of Ultimecia and Maleficent kind of teaming up. That's such a... So, your idea of having Final Fantasy collide with Disney once again, but this time... It's in Final Fantasy's world, where Disney is. That's just honestly, this list that we have here is a mix of both of our lists, where we're like, okay, well, this is what Disney wants. This is a cool idea. Now we're just kind of mixing them up. But because like all we have now is just Final Fantasy VIII, as Balam Garden is. But this could be your Monstro thing that you were talking about, like maybe not instead of Sin, like. Balam Garden is kind of traveling, and you kind of run into it in space, and that's where Leon's been hanging out.
Yeah, trying to take it back so we can go to Ultimecia's castle. That's the idea.
Yeah, so that would be cool. So you're not traveling to a Final Fantasy world. It's just like
to have it, because people will play through the game and say, "Oh man, I kind of thought there might be something," and then for Final Fantasy, and then you come up on Blomgar, and it's like, "Oh snap!"
Yeah.
So, I mean, that kind of works.
I think Chrono Trigger is an awesome idea, but it might not fit now that we've like our finalized list. Chrono Trigger is just kind of really random.
It just it fits a lot better into like the thematic kind of style, not so much the actual Kingdom Hearts formula.
Yeah, like your list, it fit perfectly, and then like for this finalized list, it's like, well, okay, out of nowhere, Chrono Trigger is there. Yeah, dude.
What's a? I mean, I guess Doctor Strange kind of is time travel. I mean, Quantum Realm's time travel.
Mm-hmm. It's a pretty sweet list. It's a pretty sweet list right now. I'm just kind of looking one more time over my other list. We had talked about maybe Zootopia. We talked about maybe Emperor's New Groove, Ratatouille. Okay. All right. Final Fantasy 15 would be an amazing one. The other thing that kind of had me thinking, like, oh man, the whole like jumping between Final Fantasy worlds is because Stranger of Paradise just kind of did something similar, and it's like, but I love the idea of team ups with characters from Final Fantasy. It's the Kingdom Hearts 1 idea. We're going back to Kingdom Hearts 1 where the worlds collide, and what made that one so exciting, but this time have them coming into Final Fantasy's worlds. It's just cool. Maybe do that as an FF world. Final Fantasy 15, Kingdom of Lucius would be cool, or just in general Final Fantasy 15. I'd love it if they just brought back Final Fantasy characters. Maybe they're all hanging out on Balam Garden. Like, like they're all just kind of like trying to take back Balam Garden.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, you start... Kingdom Hearts starts off cashing in on Final Fantasy because Destiny Islands, who's there? Riku. Not Riku. Waka. Tidus. Selphie. You get to Traverse Town, who's there? Yuffie. Squall. You go to Coliseum, Cloud. So I mean, I feel like they have, especially Squall in particular, because he's like the leader of this Final Fantasy band against the Heartless. So I feel like if you want to, like, that would just be such a huge payoff. And so like that's why I love Balam Garden, and that would be like a good place to have like a base for your Final Fantasy characters, and it could be like that last little base or hub you go to before you go off to the last dungeon, like the Hallow Bastion, the Ultimisius Castle.
Yeah. Let's see.
But I also like Ultimisia as a big bad from Final Fantasy, just because she does have like that, again, time and space. She is, when we're talking about a property that's going between dimensions and different time periods and all this kind of stuff like that. So you'd want like one of the Final Fantasy villains that has that kind of power, and she's really the only one.
Yeah, that would be pretty incredible to have Ultimisia become kind of the new Maleficent. So okay, instead of Chrono Trigger, Vinny had brought this one up. I didn't think about it until Coco.
Yeah.
That replaces. We could replace Soul with Coco. Because that would be super musical stuff. But I mean, we're pushing 2 hours on the stream here.
I honestly I do legitimately think with the popularity and the how's a way to put this? There's just a lot of factors why I think that, especially popularity and the buzz around it, the people who made it, all that stuff. I think Soul would outweigh Coco.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put this one on for Vinny,
especially. Yeah. I also like the idea of like Soul could have like the music notes and like the jazz notes and stuff flying around while you're doing your boss battle, like like just like a more visual version of the Ursula fight, where like the song during the boss fight and everything.
And Coco also deals with the afterlife stuff too.
Yeah, well,
goes with that theme.
Vinny also, well, so does Xanarkand.
True, he also said Xanarkand. Yeah, that would be a good one.
Which also is big about afterlife and all that stuff.
Okay.
So I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind putting Xanarkand on here, but again, that's another city.
True.
As opposed to Sin, where it's like
Sin
that's what I was thinking, was like being like, again, like Monstro, like where the world is like alive. Like that's kind of what I was thinking with that. And also, Yu Yevon is corrupted by the Heartless or whatever. Like there's just a lot of it's a level of how much do you want to integrate things with the story, and how much do you want to get as many popular Disney properties and stuff in here as you can.
True. I think
such as the hit film Jungle Cruise.
Such as that Jungle Cruise needs to go in there. All right, so we're gonna kind of wrap this up. So here's what one more thing. I think Sin is a great pick. I like throwing Sin in there. It just depends on if we're, what is that, Coliseum would make sense for return. I mean, Coliseum has definitely been played out, but I'd love to see it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we even talked
weird.
about that. We wanted to branch out a little bit more, while we already said like it's pretty. I feel like it's fairly likely Coliseum will there will be one of those mainstays that shows up, but we just wanted to explore like what worlds we want to see tied, like plus what we expect we could see.
Look
and like kind of find like that median.
Look how epic this list is, dude. This would be an epic world list. The only one that I'm like, I went through it again and again and again. The only one that doesn't really make sense is Balam Garden, just because it's Final Fantasy VIII out of nowhere. But I love it and I want it.
Yeah, but see, again, like we're trying to tie my list with it, and so it's like,
okay, from your
the only way to tie it would be to have some other Final Fantasy, and like that's but it's like,
I think Balam Garden could fit if it's like one of those things where it's just like you said, it's the hub world, like a Hollow Bastion or a Traverse Town.
I mean, well, that could be another thing. Is like Balam Garden could be like the Hollow Bastion, where it's like during the game, because Balam Garden's taken over by the Heartless. You know, where it showed like the council at Hollow Bastion in the first game. It's like all the villains are at Balam Garden, and then you take Balam Garden, and then you use Balam Garden to chase back to Ultimisia's castle or whatever. But I mean, there's gotta be a big Final Fantasy tie-in. And as far as the themes of Kingdom Hearts with like time and space, again, that's the one that makes the most sense. And also, like Leon at some point has to be an important character in the story.
Yeah, I want Leon to come back too, man. All right, so there you go. I think we're kind of settled on what we got. Just kind of like looking at Disney movies and stuff. They might want to throw in some classics, you know, like you had Robin Hood mentioned, you had Sword in the Stone mentioned. These are like some awesome Disney classics that could be thrown in there. Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd go so heavy. My only thought is I don't know if they'd go so heavy-handed with all the movies from like the last 5 years, like Coco, Soul, Moana, and Encanto. You
don't think so? You think they would throw more of the classics in there?
I think they would base it some.
Kingdom Hearts 3 definitely kind of went that direction.
Yeah,
they definitely went that like very like not regular.
Frozen, Tangled.
Tangled. They threw in Big Hero 6. So they had a lot of the.
That's true.
They had Monsters University.
That's also probably partly why I didn't play Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, really?
I was. Yeah, it's just.
I like the Monsters world was cool. Like they're good. They were good worlds, dude. Olympus was freaking awesome in Kingdom Hearts 3. Wait until you play that. It's the first level in the game, and then it starts off the perfect way. But anyways, that's our list. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here, Reed, if you're cool with it.
I'm good with it.
All right, so we got the Mirror Dimension to start you off, to kind of throw you into Kingdom Hearts 4. You got like here's you come out of that
your
world.
branching off point, how you get to so many different worlds, so many different
Doctor Strange is
styles,
there to kind of like
stuff.
guide you and just like hey, it's a whole new thing here, man.
Dude,
Things are changing.
Toy Story, that's a great idea.
That was from Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay.
Yep, they had Kingdom Hearts 3 had it. So Mirror Dimension, Encanto, which is a shoo-in. You know Disney's gonna be like, yo, you're gonna put Encanto in there, right? That's the first thing they're gonna say. Put Encanto in there. Endor from Star Wars, which has it has it all. Like it has your speeder chase. It's got your you're working with Chewie and Han and Leia. And then you go in there and you have a duel against Darth Vader and Palpatine alongside Luke with your key saber. Perfect. I love it, man. And then you have Moana, which Disney, it's a straight up Disney movie. It's a Disney animated film. So Moana's there. It's got The Rock coming back to voice Maui. And you got your water combat. You're fighting against Taka. You go down to Tamator. It's a cool little level, and it kind of replaces that Pirates of the Caribbean, which we've already had a couple times. It's like, all right, let's get back to it. Let's get back to Disney animated. We got Soul after that. Oh no, I'm sorry, I skipped a few. We have Stark Tower Helicarrier from the Avengers. Now we were thinking, what would be the best way to incorporate Marvel into the Kingdom Hearts universe, and we were like, well, can't have Spider-Man because of the exclusivity. You can't do Guardians because it's already been kind of done. And then you have, where's a place where all the Avengers are hanging out? At Stark Tower and Helicarrier. So you have your downtime where you get to meet them. You have your time where you take off and you're in the sky, change up the biome to now you're in the sky. It's a different environment. It looks cool. It looks different from what you've seen so far. And then you're battling on top of the Helicarrier alongside your heroes, man. Like Iron Man is out there repairing the ship while Captain America doing his thing, man. The Hawk is rampaging through the ship and you're running from that. And then Loki is there, one of the most popular MCU villains. It's all there. And then we go over to Inside Out, Reed's pick, and this amazing pick, Reed, because I love it. You're shrinking down. Now you're inside the mind of freaking Goofy. Now I'm throwing
Gorsh.
that. Gorsh.
Oh yeah, demonic Gorsh.
Demonic Gorsh.
That's gonna be my new Twitch name or my new gamer tag.
Demonic Gorsh.
Demonic Gorsh. Jeez.
So you got you're inside the mind. Probably not Goofy, but that would be really funny to have Goofy. If it's inside the mind of Sora, that's pretty cool. Or
all the Roxas stuff and all that too.
Yeah, like that would be cool. You get to see Sora's islands of personality and all this other you get to go inside of Sora's thoughts.
Dude, hold on. All right, so they would never do this, but what if it was Inside Out of Cloud and it's like the live stream part where you're going through his mind?
You're just you're going through his. That would be the ultimate mashup. That's and then you have Soul, which we thought would be a great way to throw in a music element, to throw in a rhythm-based gameplay within the meta of Kingdom Hearts. So that was cool, and then also Soul has a very cool stylistic to it. It changes the style. It may be a little bit similar to Inside Out, which was one thing that we were talking about, but overall you make it a rhythm-based type gameplay. Very cool. I love it. Very music oriented. And then you go over to Incredibles, highest grossing Pixar film. It's there. I'm surprised it wasn't in the first not in first, in the Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm surprised it wasn't in Kingdom Hearts 3. I think Big Hero 6 was probably the compromise. They were like, well, we can have this or this. So you bring in the Incredibles, and then you have Wreck-It Ralph. Now, Wreck-It Ralph is your new 100 Acre Wood. This is your new. You go into an arcade. You're playing with you're playing the arcade games. Maybe some Square Enix games, like the history of Square Enix.
Maybe some cars.
Maybe some car. Maybe the what was it? God, I can't. Sugar Rush. And then inside of Sugar Rush is cars. Lightning McQueen. And you turn into a car, which is something I fought for really hard on this list. But cars didn't make it, all right? But maybe in Sugar Rush, they can turn into the cars, okay? Well, I don't know.
Danny's dream since he was a little boy.
I dream.
I dream of being turned into a car.
Or Danny, like car.
Read like dinosaur.
Read like dinosaur. We didn't have the good dinosaur. That could have been in here. So after that was Wreck-It Ralph, and then Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
Reed's pick there. I love that pick. And honestly, it was one of those things that slipped under the radar, but that is indeed a Disney property, as Lucasfilm is under Disney. So it works out great. Indiana Jones, and they have an Indiana Jones 5 coming out soon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool. And now you might be wondering, whoa, is that Balam Garden from Final Fantasy VIII? Yes, it is. And I think it's an amazing pick.
And I feel like I've spent like 20 minutes, 30 minutes probably of this cast explaining why it would be there. So I don't want to do it again. But
no, we don't need to.
It ties into it. Go back to my list earlier, and you'll see the whole thematic process there. But.
That's right. And in this video, I'm actually gonna probably break it up into 3 different videos. And we're gonna have Reed's list, Danny's list, and then the ultimate list, and or something like that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And then Coco, from I think it just changes up. It's just a beautiful environmental area. You know what I'm saying? It also goes into the afterlife theme. Like if they're going to talk about you can think of this as an afterworld, is what they say in the trailer. So Coco kind of goes with it. Soul goes with it. It kind of goes in there. It mixes in. I like Coco a lot. I think it might be a toss up between Coco and Soul if they were thinking, because it's very heavily musically oriented. We're 2 hours into the cast right now. I can't speak anymore. But yeah. So that's our list. I think it's a pretty epic list, Reed.
I'm pretty content with this. I think this is the best way of like dreaming of a concept and combining it with the tried and true formula.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm good with it. I'd like to see Vinny's thoughts on this.
Yeah, Vinny had some really good picks. Vinny was talking about Xanarkand, Dream Xanarkand. Vinny was talking about Coco was on his list. So that we threw that one in there for Vinny upstairs. He's literally in the attic. He's fine.
God, but not forgotten.
Gone.
Changing my light bulb.
Yeah. So yeah. He has a couple other ones. I can't see them anyway. I was trying to scroll through them, but there it is. That's our list. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching along. And also, I think somebody found it, but there's a hidden code in here somewhere on the layout. I don't know if anybody's redeemed it yet. If you have redeemed it, let me know. I'd love to see if whoever gets it. You know what I mean? Like it's
you've got more than one.
Xbox Game Pass, 3 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which you can play on PC and Xbox, and you get hundreds of games. Do it, including Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13, and Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2.
Yeah, hey, look, guys, if you want to find out about this code, I'm going to get right down to the bottom line.
Yeah.
There are several codes that you can find.
Look, Vinny, upstairs, and also, check out that sweet Final Fantasy TV Kingdom Hearts logo.
Yeah, it's sick.
Amazing. And
yeah, you might even say it's a little bit of an Easter egg.
You might even say it's a little bit of an Easter egg for sure, Reed. I would agree with that statement. I would agree with that. And then just. There's something with the bottom right that we could talk about. I can't think of anything for the bottom right.
I said right down.
Oh,
to the bottom.
You did say that. The double clue. Little double clue reminder there.
Well, it would be your passive aggressive clue, and then Danny clue.
Yeah, and then there's this one.
Oh, as you just like start reading it out loud.
Yeah, it's this one, right? It's 2QJKP. I don't know.
P.
Hopefully you're reading it, not listening to me.
P. Yeah, you know me.
Yeah, let me know if you redeemed it. Awesome. I'd love to see who got it. Hopefully somebody gets it. So there it is.
I'm gonna post some for you guys who stayed and watched for the whole time. I'm gonna throw a poll up on the Discord with quotes of the cast. See which one you guys thought was the most entertaining.
Yes, yeah. Be sure to join the Discord if you're not there yet. It's right here. Let me share it for you guys. Let me bring in that copy, and I'll bring it into the chat so you guys can just join.
I see the cast.
Right. All I have to do is just write Discord.
Is the cast frozen?
I think that works, right? No, I guess not. There it is. All right, there we go. Oh yeah, it's video gets frozen whenever I put a video or any kind of window in front of it. Sucks.
Okay.
All right, well there it is, everybody. Thanks for everybody watching along. We basically gave you guys the code just because I want the people who were watching to get it, watching live to get it. But yeah, there it is. So thanks so much, everyone, and take care. Have a good Easter.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. Good see you guys next time. I will say, if I have a second, I would really. I posted something in the Discord about it as well. I would really like to be able to, even if I do a little guest appearance offshoot, I would really like to do a tier list of old school other great JRPGs.
Oh, okay. Like games that are not Final Fantasy, or exactly. Ranking games that are not Final Fantasy.
Exactly, because I mean that's basically been my whole gaming life, and I've been going through and playing a whole bunch of them for like the 10th time lately, and I would be a lot of fun to do that. I'm sure a lot of people here who love Final Fantasy love other games. We love Kingdom Hearts and everything. That's probably like a lot of those games, and sometimes you just need to know that someone else out there loves the same hidden gem you do. So
yeah. And it's also it would also be really good for like people to be like, you get to maybe discover a new game that you haven't seen before.
Exactly.
I like that idea. So yeah, we'll bring that on there someday. All right, everybody, you guys have a great weekend. Take care.
Oh, other hand.